Good morning, church family. And I'm glad to have some of my family here with us this morning. So I just praise God for each of you, and I ask your blessings upon me as I speak. The verse of the day that I got is Psalms 138, verses 23. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my concerns. God bless y'all. Thank you. To start off with, I'll just start at the beginning and go to the end. And if I get too long, stand up. So we left, first, when I graduated from high school, the 20th day of June, I got my papers to go be examined for the Army. By the way, and I'm Lynn Edwards, and I spent 2 years in the Army. Long enough for me. But anyway, went up there, and I had a letter from the doctor having some back trouble, and he just told me, said, just go over there and sit down. Rest time I'll be through in a little bit. He said, we'll call you back in about a year. So the year went by after that, and I didn't go back to the doctor. Her back was good, and got another induction paper just about the same time of the month to go to Charlotte for my exam. I went up there, and they sent me through there with flying colors. Every door I got to, you good, you good, you good. And needless to say, I was in the Army. On September the 19th, 1967 was my first day in the Army. And I thought I was a pretty good fella until I met the sergeants that I had that morning. We went to Fort Bragg, and that's where I did my basic training. I was a squad leader in our squad, and I had three other guys that was from the Burnsville area or in Anson County schools. They was in my same squad. And I told them, I asked the sergeant, I said, will we get to go home and this is 8 weeks? He said, no, sir. He said, you will not go home. So I told the guys in our squad, I said, let's be as on top of things as we can be, and we'll see how it goes. So the first weekend came up, I asked the sergeant, I said, can we go home? He said, sure. So we got to calling parents, and anyway, we got where before the end of that, one parent would come and pick us up one week, and anyway, we went home every weekend that was in basic training. And from there, I lost train of thought. Left Fort Bragg. Went to Fort Knox, took my AIT, and that was driving an armored personnel carrier. Didn't much like it, but that was my MOS, 11 Delta 20. So after I got trained there, went home, got married in that little short time. Me and my bride, Johnny, we spent 23 days together before I went to Vietnam. I went to Vietnam on March the 19th, 1968. So a little bit on down the road, you'll find out another one. But anyway, went to Vietnam, or headed out for Vietnam, and we left Charlotte, went to Texas, picked up a little Army recruit there, and he was crying, boy, he was pouring. And I went up there and told him, I said, well, we're going to the same place. He said, I told him, I said, just calm down, everything's going to be all right. I said, where are you going? You going to Vietnam with us? And he said, no, I'm going to be stationed in California. I said, you ain't got nothing to cry about. So went on to California, and we got in a big, I don't know how big that building was, but the guy that I saw was sitting way over in the corner across from us. I could just see him and his duffel bag. I couldn't make out nothing. Anyway, I told some of them boys, I said, I'm going to go over there and tell him to come over there with us. All of us to go in the same place. And so I went over there and talked to him a little bit, and he said, I just got back. I'm waiting on my ride to go home. So I stuck my tail between my legs and went back over there where I was at. But we left California at 1 o'clock that night. And we flew for 2 or 3 hours, and the sun came up, and the sun didn't go down no more on a 21-hour flight. We gained a day going over there, lost it coming back. But when we was flying over there, the pilot told us that if you look out your right window, said we're going to land at Wake Island. And I looked out there, and they want nothing but water. And he kept turning, and that little patch of land about that long come up. I said, there ain't no way. But we landed there, took the whole runway to stop, but anyway, we refueled, couldn't get off the plane, and he pulled back out on the runway and backed up. And I thought, oh boy, this is cool. He backed up as far as he could go, and he sat there for 2 or 3 minutes. He said, I'm going to rev the engines a little bit and make sure everything's all right before we take off. And the wings was just doing this number. And he turned it loose, and just like a whiplash. And we went off down the runway, and when I heard the tires come off the ground, there was water. So I told everybody that if the engine had quit, we'd have still been drinking water. But we made it over there fine, landed at Long Bend, and got out of the plane, and it was hot, buddy. Awful hot. And we standing in formation out there about to blister, so in a little while they got us and carried us in the barracks in there and lined us up on our MOS. 11 Delta 20 was mine, and I don't know what all the others was, but anyway, they had us lined up in the infantry and all that stuff. And they come to the 11 Delta 20 and 11th Cav, 1st Cav, 25th Infantry Division. They all came and got ever how many they needed. And there was 5 11 Delta 20s left in the line. And me and this other boy was on the front. And they come over there and said, 3rd to 17th Air Cav, need 2. So me and that boy stepped out, and I told that sergeant, I said, I ain't never been in Air Cav. I said, I don't know what that is. And he said, you're going to be in helicopters. And I said, man, I ain't never flew in one, let alone. He said, you're going to fly one in just a minute. So he loaded us up and told me to get in the back there and strap in. And I strapped in, but not nearly like I would have if I'd known he was going to turn that thing up sideways. But I made it. Went to Tane in, and during this time, it was dry season over there. You have dry and wet season. And the road that I was walking on, it was just a dirt road, potholes all in it. And I heard something coming, and I looked around behind me, and it was one of those earth movers. And you could see about that much under the wheels every time he'd hit one of them potholes. So I stepped over to the side. It was level. Stepped over to the side, but neither did I know that it was just powdery dust. And I fell in that ditch, duffel bag and all. And when I come up, all you could see was my eyes and around my mouth. And, I went in Top's office. And he said, where have you been? I said, in that ditch out there. He said, well, go to your barracks. And he told me where to go, and I went to the barracks and got me a shower. And he said, then come back. So I went back up there and talked to him. But anyway, he told me where I was going to be and what I was supposed to do, flying a helicopter as a scout. And so as soon as we got to the flight line, me and, I can't think of that guy's name, but anyway, when we got to the flight line, they had it already set up for the new guys. They was going to take them out on a test flight. So I believe his name was Corny. But anyway, he got in the helicopter first, and I told him, I said, I'll wait. And when he come back, he had puked in the helicopter. I thought, boy, what a ride am I going to get? But another warrant officer come out there, and he got me in. We got in another helicopter and went out, and he played some tricks on me, boy. He turned the helicopter up sideways and let it start falling toward the ground. He said, pull it out. And I said, I ain't got a clue. So he scared me, but I didn't throw up. But anyway, we got back, and the first mission I went out on was at Duckwa. We had 9 helicopters flying that morning when we went out, and 2 came back that night. And mine and another one was the ones that came back. And as far as I know, we didn't even get shot at that day. And it was hot. So after that, we did night cover for Saigon, the airport. And that was weird because you'd be flying along there and you had to watch the runways because they'd have jets coming off of there, and they'd run over that little helicopter I was in, and you know, if you didn't spot them first. And I kept my eyes glued on that runway, especially when we come around on the west side. And one day we was coming along there, and one of the fighter jets come off the runway, and I told him, I said, he's at my right, he's at my door, and he's coming fast. And so he just bailed down to almost to the ground. And most of the time when we flew, we was on the ground anyway, but 6 or 8 foot off the ground. And we got down there, and that jet went over the top of us. That was kind of scary, especially me being new at the thing. And there's a lot of times we'd go out and days on time days, and not really realize that what we was getting into. But the day that we had flew many missions, and as far as I know, I hadn't got shot at until the day that I got shot. We was flying for 25th Infantry Division, running some trail runs for them. And I didn't know until that morning. I had told the sergeants when I got over there, I said, I don't do nothing on the 19th. I am not flying on the 19th. Because I done had 2 things happen to me that was bad, going in the Army and then coming over here. And both of them on the 19th. So this particular month, it came up for me to fly on the 19th. That sergeant came in there and woke me up, and I told him, I said, I ain't flying. I told you when I got here I wasn't flying on the 19th. And he said, you got to fly today, you ain't got nobody else. So I just turned over and like I was going back to sleep. About 5 minutes went by, and I could hear him scuffling around back there in his office. And in a little bit he came out there and he said, you got to fly. He said, I ain't got nobody that I can send today. I said, I was picking, I'll go. So I got up and got dressed and went to fly. And when I got to the flight line, I didn't know anything that was going on. But when I got to the flight line, they told me, said, you're going to be flying with a new pilot today. You've been here 5 months. You know what's going on. And he said, you tell that pilot. He said, he's a warrant officer. He's above you, but he ain't today. He said, you tell him what he's supposed to do, and he better listen to you. So So we was out flying, we was about 8 foot off the ground, I guess. It used to be a pine thicket. And they went in there and bulldozed it because Charlie, this is a good place for Charlie to hide, which he could hide most anywhere anyway. But anyway, they had bulldozed it, and it was just about 8 or 10 foot off the ground. You'd clear everything that was out there. So we was flying along, and I saw a tunnel entrance. It was fresh dirt, pretty red dirt clay. And I told that pilot, I said, there's a tunnel down there. I said, I see the tunnel entrance. So he turned around, and you could go back the second time and kind of check it out. But anyway, we went by the second time. I told him, I don't see nobody. I said, you need to call it in and get the infantry out here. So we went back by, and we flew on out there a little piece. And he said, man, I ain't never seen a tunnel entrance. He said, I'm going to go back and see it. So I just mashed the radio button. I had one on my side, too, so operations could hear. And I said, man, you don't never go back the third time. So when we banked around and come back over that thing, he was flying just about center of the red clay. And when that boy come up out of the hole with that AK-47, I couldn't shoot at him because he was under the helicopter or in the center of it. So he opened up on us. He put 18 rounds in that brand new helicopter. And praise the Lord, my pilot had taught me how to fly. I had 500 hours or so in flying time when that happened. And I flew as long as I could just see the outline of the trees and that kind of stuff. And I flew until he got a tourniquet on his leg. Same bullet got me and him both. Come in my door, hit me in the lower part of the leg, and it went between the bone and cut, the artery runs right between your bone and the lower part. Cut the artery completely in two and went through the radios, which was the side of us, and then it hit him in the left knee up about the knee, and it knocked about 6 inches of bone out of his leg. But he got a tourniquet on his leg, and he was able to take back over, and I passed out when he took over. And we flew back into Coochie, and he just made a running landing, just slid in. And if he hadn't, we'd have probably crashed right there. But we got in. They had the fire truck on my side, the ambulance on his side, and that was a rough ride to the hospital. But we got over there, and big wheels come in and tried to get me to re-enlist, and I said, this is not a good time. They asked me to re-enlist. But anyway, that was the time it was, everybody that was in there was getting ready to go back home. And they had a medevac airplane that was supposed to come in that next morning. And we slept in the barracks over there, and Charlie rocketed us all night. I laid on the concrete floor all night. And that old cop felt pretty good after we got in the airplane. Anyway, they had four cots in the airplane, and I was on the bottom one. And we left Saigon, and we was gaining speed. We got on up a little piece, and he said, Charlie ain't got nothing that can reach us now. And you ought to have heard hollering that was going on in that plane. But anyway, we left from there and went to Japan. And that's where they was taking us to get us operated on. They didn't do nothing but just patch us up to get us to Japan. And got us patched up, and then we come back from there to Washington, D.C., and a bunch of Army guys, they ain't got those smarts. We got in, we was in the hospital there, and they give us all a wheelchair. So we got in the wheelchair and got out on the street out there. And they come in, and the nurse just found us out there, and she took our wheelchairs away from us. But God was in all that, because when I saw all the armor personnel carriers that was trashed out there in the field, I knew God was there when He put me in helicopters. I didn't realize it at the time, but God was there in every situation. When I was in Duck Wall, He was there. We had one guy that they came back in, and they had shot him. He had a helmet on with the sun visor, and it had hit him right where that knob comes out where you pull it down. Creased his hair, but didn't touch him. And I witnessed to him, and never did get him to turn around, but he told me several times he was like atheist, and that's what he was going to be. I told him, I said, well, you need to know God, because He was with you this morning. So God was always there. I don't care where you go, how far you get away from home. If you got God in your heart, He's there every time. So just always remember that God is with you, and all you got to do is just reach out and call him out, and He'll be there. God bless you, brother. I appreciate you letting me come and speak today, and I've been fighting cancer for a year now, lymphoma, and the doctor told me that there ain't no cure for lymphoma. He said, we can control it, but there ain't no cure. And I thought, Lynn, there's another doctor in the house besides you. But anyway, a year, three months or so, I had a PET scan, and it was clear. No cancer. And my motto all the way through this is God's got it. And I knew He did from day one. So, appreciate y'all. God bless you.